Good morning, everybody. Brothers, sisters, psychonauts, and seekers of truth. It is Ananka, and welcome to my bazaar. Today, I have a Percocet, Valium, and cannabis trip report for you. The title of this trip report is Endorphins at Their Most Profound, and was submitted to Erowid in 2007 by the user Baker. With all that being said, let our story begin. This was set out as a mild experiment for a better understanding of the substance oxycodone, but also as a way of achieving a euphoric state of mind, but turned out being more profound than expected. About 2 days before the experience, I had consumed a 20 milligram OxyContin for what was my first opiate experience in a while, with practically no tolerance, so I was quite inebriated for that whole day. However, the experience appeared to be lacking the traditional, insightful euphoria that I've come to associate with low-dose codeine experiences. Instead of entering an uplifting mind state, I just felt physically comfortable and spent most of the day just laying in bed half awake, half asleep, finding it difficult to appreciate music and pay attention to things that required more effort than laying down with my eyes closed. I found some Ashra Temple to be particularly fun as I searched through my music collection for something that was appropriate, that would aid the opiate high rather than sound abrasive. The experience was nothing special, and I knew that now I would have to experience withdrawals, and wondered why I participated in such an experiment out of boredom. So anyway, the next day I did a fairly hefty amount of exercise, as I knew this as a form of releasing natural endorphins as to combat withdrawal. It didn't really feel fatigued until the following day, which I then decided to work out with some more heavy exercise through dancing. The muscle fatigue felt somewhat similar to the pain I get after opiates, like a kind of nauseating pain that doesn't so much feel like lethargy, but like there is some toxin in the muscle that just doesn't quite agree with my body, and as a result aches in this weird, vaguely uncomfortable fashion. So understanding I was experiencing some mild withdrawals, I decided to consume about a quarter of an OxyContin pill, 5 milligrams. So I crushed it up and snorted a little white powder and separated the coating from the pink coating from the rest of the pile and ate that too. My intentions were to bring on the euphoria that a user associates with the treatment of pain. The treatment of opiate sickness is what makes its pull so appealing. It never feels like the initial use of an opiate is that great. It's when I return to that roller coaster of endorphins, as the body starts associating its endorphins with the binding agent rather than a natural production of them. So I get that roller coaster-like effect. Endorphins are no longer on a constant. They fluctuate according to my own decisions about when and how much opiates to consume, rather than the amount of socializing, exercise, or food one consumes. So anyway, within an hour I was feeling quite sedated, only again, still not quite as euphoric as I would like. The sedation felt quite like a mental sedation, and there wasn't so much of a physical euphoria as I'd expected. Perhaps oxycodone is a more mental high than perhaps, say, morphine. So I decided to add 5 milligrams of Valium to the mix, which definitely boosted the combination along as I left my bedroom and decided to sit in the bath. Laying in the warm water, I almost forgot I was there. It was truly a self-indulgent, nirvana-like state, becoming one with my surroundings by my mind's lack of desire to associate myself with them. I was on the phone with a friend of mine during my time in the bath, and I'm not quite sure what I said to them during that time, but I felt an intense emotional attachment to them, like a warmth and a belonging that rose from my chest. Understanding that there are socially based endorphins and exercise physical based endorphins, it only makes sense that muscle fatigue and social release go hand in hand for achieving states of euphoria. I eventually got out of the bath as the Valium was taking full effect and headed downstairs. I got online when I decided to light up about half a cone or bowl of cannabis and held it in tight as to not let any smoke or smell out. This combination is what created one of my most intense opiate experiences that I've ever had, and I have done a range of opiates. Codeine, dihydrocodeine, morphine, fentanyl, poppy tea, and of course oxycodone. Typically, I have always found codeine to be my favorite, as it's mild and lets me still associate myself with my surroundings enough to learn from them, while still associating them with an intense euphoria. Cannabis was the part that brought out the true intensities of this experience as I spoke to my partner online. We discussed my situation of short unemployment. I have been unemployed for about a month and a half, and my situation with parents and how they were treating me, and everything else that needed attention at this point in my life. The thing that really hit me about this experience was that it was a stern conversation. I wasn't told the comforting things that make one feel better about the situation. I was told the cold, hard truth. No one has truly ever tried to be that motivational with me before. People usually come to me to hear it from me, or they give in too easily and try to say whatever they can to cheer me up. They sugarcoat things, and I hate sugarcoating. It gets me nowhere. I like to hear things in black and white. If I performed badly at something, I want to know. This is how I grow at my abilities. It sucks that so many people don't have the confidence to tell people like it is sometimes. They tell people the cake tastes good because they don't want to offend them. Or the reverse, they'll try to offend them because they feel bad about themselves. My dad often gives me shit about my life and the choices I make because I know he is not happy himself. But my partner was being honest with me, and it was so emotionally uplifting that I began to cry. Tears of joy ran down my face as I felt one of the most intense emotional connections I have ever felt with someone, and it happened through an online conversation, which many would consider void of emotion. But perhaps that's just it. The words created such an intense emotion within myself, a creative, emotional attachment to my own fantasies and imaginations, that I was somehow able to associate simple words of a familiar character and turn them into a profoundly uplifting state. So for those out there who say the internet is void of expression, I concur as interpretation is never void of emotion. Sometimes we laugh in states of fear and confusion, and sometimes we cry in states of joy and understanding. The funny thing was, as emotionally charged as the advice made me feel, when I thought about undergoing the advice given, apathy began flooding through my system. Yeah, I think I'll wait until Monday to do that, as I'll be hungover tomorrow, and I have put out a lot of applications, so it's not like it's that much of a serious situation, I thought to myself. The next day, however, I did get off my ass and made about $40 helping someone move something, and then meeting up with my friends in the city feeling exceptionally ecstatic. displaying more eccentricities than ever and talking excessively. I had experienced something truly profound, and traditionally being a lover of psychedelics, I have to admit that the experience really did move me.